honourable member for Elmwood Transcona.
Speaker, I'm pleased to rise today to follow up on a question that I asked in December that was prompted by some shock at an article that appeared in the Winnipeg Free Press, where some of my fellow MPs from Winnipeg who belong to the Liberal Party were saying that post-election, having gone to their constituents, a lot of them were now expressing that they were just fine with having lost their home mail service and that they weren't looking to have it restored. It goes against my experience, Mr. Speaker. In Elmwood Transcona, I can tell you throughout the campaign and indeed after, I've heard from many people who are concerned about losing their home mail delivery and are disappointed in the government's failure so far to restore what has already been cut. Home mail delivery service is important, Mr. Speaker. It's important to a lot of different people. It's important to seniors who are struggling to stay in their home. That struggle often is what you might call a battle of straws. It's many things that add up that finally force someone out of their home. And having to walk a block or two to a community mailbox, especially in winter in Winnipeg, I can tell you, is no small straw on the back of seniors trying to stay in their family home and not have to move into an apartment or other facility. So there's those people who are very concerned. There's people living with disabilities for whom having to travel to a community mailbox is no small issue. And then there's people who may have simply decided that home mail delivery service is an amenity, just like any other that we consider when purchasing a home, who are now losing it. And in that sense, it's not unlike the library moving to a different end of town or a community pool closing down. We know, however, that home mail delivery is, even though it's an important service to people, it's not where Canada Post is making its most money. We know that parcel delivery, it brings in more revenue than home mail service, but part of our point, Mr. Speaker, is that a public corporation has a mandate to also provide public services. And we believe that that's a service worth paying for. We think that that's worth, and in particularly in light of the fact that Canada Post has not been losing money. The only time in recent memory that it lost a lot of money was when the employees were locked out by the Conservative government. We've maintained that this is a service worth keeping and are anxious that the review that the Liberals have undertaken come to that conclusion for all the people who want to keep that service. An area of concern, however, Mr. Speaker, is around the TPP that was being signed today. We know that there are provisions for Crown corporations. We know that those provisions say, at least in general terms, that public corporations have to behave as if they were a commercial enterprise. There's a lot still to be studied with respect to the TPP, but surely the Liberal government, in its desire for good governance and understanding the policy implications of major decisions, has done an analysis, surely, of the effect that signing the TPP may have on a review of Canada Post services and the effect of a requirement that public corporations act as commercial entities may have on the outcome of that review. And I'm hoping that the Parliamentary Secretary can shed some light on the government's understanding of what those provisions in the TPP may mean for home mail delivery in Canada.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Public Services and Procurement.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to take part in this debate this evening on the future of Canada Post. Since pre-Confederation days, the Postal Service has linked Canadians together from coast to coast to coast. All Canadians continue to rely on Canada Post today. But as well as being integral to our lives, Canada Post also has a commercial mandate and a legislated requirement to be self-sufficient.